Yeah, I mean, for me, it's this simple. That was one of the best back and forth MVP games that I've seen in. I mean, I don't know. Like when I grew up, I used to watch Kobe and LeBron go at it. I used to watch T-Mac and Kobe go at it in '03. I used to watch LeBron go at it with Curry, all kind of people. SGA made a sidestep to the left three to put him up 4. Jokic then comes down and hits a pin down 3, and Murray hits the free throw. Then there's 6.5 seconds left. Mark Dagnall runs a sprint screen, which is like a ghost screen at SGA. SGA perfectly reads it by not allowing for the double to have any chance to get there. He then sprints to the right, sidestep right, game on the line, bucket, nothing but net to end the game. That was one of the best games that I have seen all season. There's so much to get into. There's so much to talk about, Nuggets fans. I know you're frustrated, but y'all, sometimes you just got to acknowledge greatness. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Locked On Nuggets podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Swipa, joined with Ryan Blackburn. Matt Moore not here with us today, but y'all, we are getting ready to talk about one of the best games of the year. I know. You can't say that about losses, but sometimes you just got to go be a fan of basketball. At some point, you got to put the notepad down. At some point, you got to be able to step away from a game and say, that was exceptional and that was phenomenal. Y'all, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. So make sure you continue to tap in. FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into an even bigger potential win with a college basketball parlay profit boost. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel. Play your game. Ryan, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling, honestly, I'm feeling all right. I think over the course of Friday to Monday, when Denver loses by 40 to a team at home and in a pretty unfortunate situation, and then you come back and you play a very competitive game against OKC, some really poor moments, but also some really great moments in this game from Denver. And ultimately they go down because one of the best players in the world, if not the best player in the world, made a tough ass shot 2 times in a row, going, like you said, going to his left, going to his right, step back both times. Like, he was unbelievable in this game. And sometimes great players make great plays. And this, as the thumbnail that you put up mentions, a true clash of the Titans between 2 of the best players, like the 2 best players in the NBA. It was very impressive to watch. You just got to tip your cap to SGA. You got to tip your cap to Jokic too, because they were both amazing. They were truly both amazing in this game, but one of those guys had the ball last, and sometimes it's how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think fans, what it is I think people want to have like a victor and a loser because it's basketball, and I think SGA won the game. Like, the Thunder won the game. But I do think at some level, y'all got to kind of like take a breath, because even if you disagree with like Jokic is the best in the world or SGA is the best in the world, Nuggets fans, or if the NBA Twitterverse is like, oh, Jokic is and here's the thing that's like bothering me a little bit, but it's not even bothering me because I live with it every day at this point. It's like people are really watching this game and saying, oh, Jokic was, got outplayed. He was a bum. He was this and that. I'm just watching this game. I'm like, bro, I don't know. I just watched 2 demons go shot for shot in the 4th. And SGA got the last one. He made it. But it was legitimately a phenomenal game. And there's no sugarcoating a loss. They lost. But at some point, I'm asking you, if a dude goes for 35, 15 assists, 0 turnovers, that's some like Steve Nash, LeBron-esque game. Like, that just don't happen. Plus a 75% true shooting has never happened. Yeah. So at some point, if you're just like watching this game and you're like, oh, shucks, they lost. It's like, well, you know who's also been on the other side of this a lot? Everybody that's played against Jokic. So Nuggets fans should be real familiar with this, because Jokic has done this multiple times. So that's all I'm saying. Like, Ryan, for me, it's just like painting this as a gray moment. They've lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They shouldn't have lost. They lost to Detroit. They shouldn't have lost. They lost to the Clippers. They shouldn't have lost. I can say those are bad losses. Today was just like, phenomenal, bro. I don't know.
You could go even further than that. This team has a whole heck of a lot of bad losses. The Warriors game in a matinee situation, the Chicago Bulls earlier in the season, the Dallas Mavericks three separate times. Like there are plenty of times where you could point to this team and say, okay, well, yeah, you probably shouldn't have lost that one. You take it in a micro view though, and you're like, okay, it is what it is. These games happen, but those games have happened enough. And now you're also losing the tough games against the tough teams when you've got the superstar performance on the other side.
Yep.
Denver's just lost too many games. Like at this point, I think that's where fans are feeling. And one of the things when you watch a great player like SGA, when you watch him be absolutely unstoppable, it's just like it feels inevitable, and it feels like you are completely out of control of your own destiny. In that case, where Denver didn't have control of their own destiny in this one because SGA had the final shot and was unstoppable throughout it. And it felt like Denver, like they made some amazing plays to get back into it late, but they were down 7 at one point. They were down 8 at one point. Like they had to have some heroic plays. They had to have a 4-point play. They had to have a flagrant foul in order to get back into this game. And so it did feel like SGA and the Thunder had separated, and ultimately like Denver did the thing that they do, which is almost come back, but not quite enough. And I think fans are very much feeling the hopelessness of that. And that sucks.
But bro, I just think, man, today's just not I don't know, man. Maybe it's just been, there's been so many games this year I can point to and just like, man, they shouldn't have lost that. Man, they shouldn't have did that. Man, David Adelman, blah, blah, blah. You know what? I thought David Adelman sucked in the first half, bro. That Jonas Valanciunas, those 6 minutes were horrible. The Nuggets scored 6 points when Jokic sat the first 6 minutes of the quarter. Then they scored 14 when he got back. But David responded in the second half. He didn't play him. And then he put Aaron Gordon in, with Spencer Jones in, with Jamal Murray to try to like stabilize those minutes.
Jokic started the fourth quarter too. Like you guys know how much they wanted this game. And that's the other aspect of it though, is that they desperately wanted this one. You don't play Jokic at the beginning of the fourth quarter. You don't bring Aaron Gordon back in at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and that you don't make some of these rotations that like you don't cut it down to 8 when you've got so many healthy guys. Like you just like in this situation, it's very clear that they wanted to go all out for this one, and they just did not win it. But they did a lot of good things. Like I do agree with you that there were a lot of good things that they did, and I can point to a variety of performances. I thought Murray, for the most part, was pretty good in this game. I thought that Tim Hardaway was fantastic spacing the floor. I thought that Aaron Gordon's first quarter was absolutely unbelievable. And obviously, Jokic throughout was truly amazing. But,
by the way, for OptaStats, Jokic just recorded his 323rd game with 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists tonight versus OKC, passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the most 20, 10, and 5 performances in the NBA in the last 65 years. So this is what I'm telling you, bro.
Yeah,
how can you actually be? I mean, I understand being mad about the loss, but goodness gracious, like Ryan, let me ask you this: when's the last time Jokic was that hot in a fourth quarter and lost a game?
I mean, I'd have to think about it, but like
he's just rarely happens.
I think like even against the Warriors, like early, like in the loss that he had, like there have been some really impressive performances where like they just haven't closed it out. They just haven't like done the things that they're supposed to do, especially on the defensive end. And I think that is frustrating to a lot of people. I'm not like nobody's trying to. I understand what you're trying to do in terms of making this about like, hey, this is a pretty historic performance from SGA. This is a pretty historic game from Jokic, and people should be appreciating that. And one of the teams had to lose, but one of the teams also had 3 of their 5 starters out and Alex Caruso outs, and like it was very clear.
But Denver's been on the other side of that so much this year, and I think I hear you, but like that's basketball, like. I think it is but OKC's a really good team. Like I want people to realize that.
Of course, they're the best.
AJ Mitchell came back today and was hooping. Wiggins had some moments today. Like Kaysen sucked. He was a minus 27 in this game. Jay Will had a 30-10 game damn near, and he made 7 threes. Yeah. 7. So like it's going. That stuff happens, and so trust me, Ryan. I'm frustrated about the loss, but I'm also just kind of like I'm trying to center myself, Ryan. Do I think this team is actually going to end up in the play-in because they're not going to figure it out at some point? I've thought about this. I literally have thought about this.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. It's just, I think they're in a rut. I think that stuff happens. I think the schedule is difficult, but they're also just trying to figure out how to play together as well. Like it's multiple things for me that are happening all at once. But go ahead.
I don't disagree with you on any of that for what it's worth. Like I think that's it's perfectly salient point and something that Nuggets fans need to get through their heads. I don't think they're falling to the play-in either. Could they? Sure. Like if they go 0-3 in the next 3 games, they could be in the play-in automatically there. But like the rest of the schedule opens up so much at that point that like Denver's going to string together some wins. They're going to figure some things out. It's more likely that they finish at 3 than they do at 7, I think. But what I think Nuggets fans are still struggling with is that even when the Thunder were down so many guys, like obviously they still have like players upon players that they can call upon and be pretty happy with their performances. But the thing that Nuggets fans are thinking is like, okay, Denver played pretty well. They played pretty well in this game. They had a lot of pretty good performances. They played pretty well the last time they faced OKC, and they're still 0-3 against this team, despite the fact that they played pretty well. And like, how much better, like realistically, can the Nuggets get than what they showed today? Like, how much better can they get? Like, is it a lot? Is it a little?
No,
like,
I think they can, but I think at some point we got to also, they also are on a, today they made their shots. The last time they played OKC, they played good defense and OKC didn't make their shots. It's like some of this is also like the ball swung the right way and they also made their shots today. The last time they played OKC, if Jokic has a normal game, they win that game. I don't think there are moments where they could have won. There are moments where Murray could have won. I just think there's so many different like factors to this, Ryan. We'll talk about that more on the other side, because I think there's more important stuff that we need to get to. There's more stuff about this game. I definitely want to talk about the things that went wrong, the things they need to do better, and all that. Absolutely, for sure. I want Nuggets fans to be able to get out all their anger and all that stuff. We'll talk about all that more here on the other side here at Locked On Nuggets. There's nothing like being in an NBA arena. Did you hear the crowd tonight? The crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, that part hasn't always been so simple. That's why Gametime has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. It puts the advantage back where it belongs, with the fans. Now, I pulled up the Gametime app. Y'all know I love going to Braves games in Atlanta. I love going to concerts. I like going to Hawks games. If you like Nuggets game, you literally can see the all-in price up front. You get a view from your seat before buying the ticket. That way you know exactly what your seat's going to look like. You get zone deals where you get to choose the section. Gametime will pick the seats, and then you save money. They got great last-minute options, too, with NBA tickets showing up at very solid prices. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. And remember, it's gametime.co, not .com. We'll be back for more here at Locked On Nuggets. What's going on, y'all? We are back here for the second segment here of Locked On Nuggets. Shout out to you all. Thank y'all so much for joining us and being a part of this great Locked On Denver Nuggets family that is absolutely irate about today's game, which trust me, y'all, I understand. But if you want more places to talk to us, if you want more places to see Ryan, you want more places to see Matt, you want more places to hang out here with Locked On Nuggets, join us with our Everydayer Club. Go to lockedonnuggets.supercast.com and become a member with the Everydayer Club, or we get an all-access membership with the Everydayer Club. You can sign up with us. Yeah, make sure you tap in. Y'all know what time it is. This is Swipa. Why does Swipa sound so good? You know what? At the end of the day, Ryan, I just love basketball. Like at the end of the day, even below being a fan, like I love basketball. And when great basketball is played, like I just get happy. I don't tell you. Now, Ryan, let's talk about some of the not so great things.
Yeah, it's my element here.
What were some of your least favorite things or reasons why Denver lost this game off top of your head?
I mean, first and foremost, I think you have to start with the Jonas Valanciunas minutes. That to me sets Denver up in a really negative way. Actually, we'll even go back before that, because yes, Jonas was a -8 in this game on top of the previous matchups that he just hasn't had a lot of success lately for Denver, and it's clear that the Nuggets rotation is fading Jonas Valanciunas at this point. But the rotation that Denver had after Aaron Gordon left the floor, where Tim Hardaway Jr. comes in and it's Jamal Murray, Christian Brown, Cam Johnson, and Nikola Jokic joining him, Denver gave up their entire lead that they had built up immediately in this game. And I just don't understand. Like, there are so many points where Denver can be good, where they can be like in good positions to succeed. But the moment Aaron Gordon left the floor, things just went halfway to hell. And I have no idea why it went that way. Now, part of it is because they just don't lock in as much defensively, I guess. Like Tim Hardaway immediately came in and made some threes. It's not like the offense wasn't going well, but then you just make a couple extra mistakes. You don't grab that offensive rebound, and the opposing team gets a fast break on you, and suddenly it's a 7-0 run, a 9-0 run, a 10-0 run, and you're calling a timeout immediately after that. So Denver just lets too many of these things happen in these situations immediately after a sub happens. I just don't get what's going on with it.
Yeah, so that's been the story, man. They, for some reason, win the starter minutes versus OKC, even when everybody fully healthy. They did in the playoffs too. But as soon as they start picking away at the roster, like, and you start putting subs in, it's like they lose their identity. And today it happened again as well. Like, you know, the Nuggets were up, 12 at one point, and they were like rolling. And it felt like game one, Heat versus Nuggets all over again, where, shoot, whether it's SGA, whether it was Kaysen, whether it was Dort, hey, throw into Aaron Gordon and go eat, sir. 19 points.
Like, that's exactly how they should have done it. And the way that they started this game was truly awesome. And shout out again to Aaron Gordon. Second game back from the hamstring injury. And he looked fantastic, specifically in that first quarter, but really did help throughout the game as well and just did a lot of things. It was like he faded into the background in this game, in part due to the injury, I would guess, but mostly it's because of the game plan switch and Jokic getting more involved and Tim Hardaway Jr. going off.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, there definitely is a part of this where, you know, I think that the Nuggets they're struggling that when Jokic has gone to the bench lately, that second unit, they don't have right now, I'm talking about in this moment, Adelman doesn't have somebody he fully trusts that can actually deliver and do that job. Because again, -8 in the Jonas minutes in 6 minutes, and it was a -15 last time they played OKC. No, actually -21 because Jokic was a +15 last time.
It was like OKC. A -15 in the first half or something like that, which is it was ridiculous.
So, but what do you think about Adelman with that? Because for me, when I say play big versus OKC, I'm not talking about Jonas. What I actually mean is, like, you have a lot of wing, even if you don't think like Zeke is the most competent offensive player. But what you do need versus Shea, players that can load up, players that can stay in front, and players that can rotate backside. For me, it's just a matter of, I think you got to play those kind of guys in this series. Now, if the Nuggets would have went out and got somebody, and Chris Boucher or whatever, then maybe they could have played them. But I mean, but again, like,
yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know what Chris Boucher would have done in this game.
Exactly. I'm not saying Chris would have.
It's tough, but I do agree with you. Hypothetically, let's say Peyton Watson is back. I think you just sub in Peyton Watson for Jonas Valanciunas in those minutes, and you're cooking. Like, you're doing pretty well in those minutes. And even like you could even go bigger than that. You could take Bruce Brown off the floor in some of those cases, and you go like Jamal, THJ, P. Watt, Aaron Gordon, Spencer Jones. I feel pretty good about that lineup. I feel about as good as you can. Yes, you've got a couple of targets there for AJ Mitchell to go at, but like you also have the spacing that you need in that case for, like, hey, you could play 5 out with Aaron Gordon operating in the middle. You could play a variety of ways on the offensive end and just pick and choose your matchups. But defensively, you can switch everything, or you can just run sort of a shell coverage and try to keep everybody out of the paint as much as possible, but then collapse on the glass and then do what you can. But yeah, Jonas, he's clearly just not the answer in this matchup. We knew that going in, though. It's just like this has now become pretty resonant in terms of what people can expect from this particular matchup. Like, Jonas just isn't going to be able to do anything in the small minutes, and like maybe not even in the big minutes either. We're going to have to see. But like the theory behind the practice there is when Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein are out there, Jonas Valanciunas can help pick up some fouls on those guys. But like, I don't know if that's enough. I just don't.
Yeah, man. It is what it is. Like, I do think that there are some things they're going to have to adjust, come next time they play OKC. But really, they're probably not going to. I do think my real thing is that they're going to have to find an identity over these next 18 or whatever games to where when they see OKC again in the Western Conference Finals, they're ready for that matchup and they're ready for what's going to come with it. Now, again, it's going to be really difficult to beat OKC if SGA is playing like this. But again, this was like an all-time great regular season game, so like that stuff is going to happen. But again, they've shown, like I said last time they played SGA was 12 of 29. He was 1 of 6 in the fourth. So like that's what I'm saying. Like, they've shown moments where they can do it, but it's just the consistency of the defensive intensity you need. They don't have that.
Let's can I ask you about Christian?
Yeah.
How well do you think he actually defended SGA versus SGA making tough shots tonight? Because I don't think he did that great of a job personally. There were a couple of times where he absolutely contested pretty well. And I think the foul that they challenged, I actually think it was a good challenge in that moment to try to get that. And I thought that Christian got it clean. The refs didn't see it that way. But I thought that there were times where he contested pretty well. And there were times where SGA just generated a million miles of space between the two of them in those situations. But that's SGA's superpower.
Yeah, I think some of this is they were doubling and trapping. So I think Christian was a bit slower today than he normally would be on his closeouts or on his slides because he was expecting help. So that did affect him, I think, on a couple of the blow-bys. But I do think Christian got his hand up. The one SGA made off the backboard, Christian was right there.
Yeah, that was sick.
You know what I mean? Like Christian was also there on the closeout. And the Christian blocked his shot again. Like, there's not many guards in the league that are blocking SGA jump shots. He's done it twice now, and he did it again in this game. But also SGA was also just kind of on a heater. So when you're playing guards, you kind of got to deal with this variant because SGA in the playoff we showed last year, he shot sub 40% in the Memphis series. Then he played versus Denver, had some bad games and had some really good games. Versus Timberwolves, he shot well. Then in the finals versus Andrew Nembhard, he didn't shoot well for like a lot of the series. So I think some of this is like you do have to have defenders on the floor that are specifically designed for these matchups. But I will say Christian has also been one of the best SGA defenders that we've had in the league. So I don't want to like completely write him off.
Yeah, like it would be nice if Denver had P-Watt to mix in there. It would be nice if Denver, like you have a fully healthy Aaron Gordon and maybe you change up that matchup a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Denver has in these cases. I think everything's going to have some strengths and weaknesses. And obviously Shea's one of those guys that there's not a lot of Shea stoppers out there. Like that's the thing is that you have to stop him with a team defense. And that's why Denver's rotating doubles. It's why Jalen Williams hitting 7 threes and Jared McCain hitting some big shots like that. That's a big deal for them. And like, they're always going to have guys that can do that. So you pick your poison with them and Denver's just going to have to be as much better on the margins as they possibly can be.
Yeah, we'll talk about more on the other side here at Locked On Nuggets because there's some more stuff to get into, and I want to hear some more Ryan thoughts. We'll be here very soon. It's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. Trying to book an appointment that's not the most convenient, sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth, wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upside. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve while getting the real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out when your taxes are being handled right. So head to turbotax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment. College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every night. From early tip-offs to late-night West Coast shootouts, there's always action on the board. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into an even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. You can build any college hoops parlay you want. Rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever fits the opportunity. You can also mix the spreads. You can do a lot. So this is the place that you need to tap into. So go safe, go bold, ride with your team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, and now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. We'll be back for the final segment here at Locked On Nuggets. We are back for the final segment of Locked On Nuggets. Shout out to you all. Thank you all so much for being here with us every single day. Thank you so much for Ryan Blackburn and his due diligence as the numbers guy, as the stats guy, as the guy that does a lot of work behind the scenes that you all have no idea how much time he puts in to make sure you have the content that you need. So shout out to Ryan. Also shout out to Matt Moore, who reads and studies more than almost anybody you will ever meet in the NBA circles. And so make sure you're always showing him love. Y'all, this is Locked On Nuggets. I know we've been talking too much positivity about SGA. But I don't know what to tell you, brother. When Kobe goes off, man. Ryan.
Kobe could never be so efficient.
No, please. I've seen Kobe have some game versus Denver, brother. Yeah, man. I just think, bro, Do you feel like it's too late for Denver to find itself? Is it too late in the season? Too many injuries? Too much time has passed?
Matt and I talked about this a little bit last night. I don't know. Like, he seems to think that Denver, like, because I asked him, hey, do they need to prove that they can play at a higher level defensively? And he's like, no, like that ship has sailed. That ship is it's not there anymore. They are not an elite defensive team. They're not even a good defensive team. The only thing that they need to prove is that they can be a top 1 offensive team and then a not bottom 10 defensive team. And at that point, then you have a chance against any team in the NBA. I don't know. I don't know what the thing is for Denver here, but I do think they need some sort of identity. They need some sort of jumping off point for the rest of this stretch where it just feels like they get down into these moments and they are climbing uphill as like so much. They are digging and just trying to do everything that they can to get out of this, but they can't get there. And I don't know why, but like, it certainly feels like they just cannot put together all of the pieces. And so to me, that's the identity that they have to reforge. Can you put together the pieces a little bit more against some great teams? Like, it doesn't have to be against OKC. Like, that ship has sailed too. But it could be against Houston. It could be against San Antonio. It could be against the Lakers on Saturday. Like, there's plenty of opportunities left. The question is whether Denver's going to be able to do it.
Look, man, I don't mean to be the I told you so guy, Ryan Blackburn.
Oh, yeah.
But that Nickeil Alexander-Chris Dunn thing that I've been screaming about for years, this is what I'm talking about. It's just you got to have those players on the roster.
I'd love them too. I'm not trying to say they don't.
No, I hear you, but I think some of this is also just like they had enough moments of passable defense today. The problem is it's just that like you can't sustain it enough. Like the fact that you can't sustain good defense consistently. Now, again, I want to be fair to the Nuggets. They did versus OKC the last time they played. They did play good defense, and they almost won. Jokic was just still mid. So some of this is also like, I think that Denver, man, they have to rethink how they're approaching personnel stuff. Cam Johnson, by the way, I said this on the criticism of him on the timeline. One reason I don't like playing with super intellectual people, Ryan. As a matter of fact, Ryan, one reason I don't like working with super intellectual people in general, it's not because it's like being smart is a bad thing. I'm intelligent. I love numbers. I love to read. You love to read. You're intelligent. But there's something about, Ryan, when you're uber intellectual and you overthink everything, and that to the point where it affects your confidence, that's Cam Johnson. Cam had a DA show with Jokic today, brother. He got off the screen wide open. He first looked at Jokic before realizing there's nobody standing in front of him on a mid-range.
He's like, oh, shit.
And he just blanked it. And what I'm saying is, Cam, you can just tell the difference with Porter. Porter wasn't as intellectual as a player. He just, that's just not in the same way. Porter would just, I'm firing. Now, he would miss a lot, and his defense was worse than Cam's. But, like, I think at some level, man, like, the Nuggets need, and Jamal Murray, by the way, didn't have the greatest game in the world. He was, 8 of 23 today? Was that what it was?
SGA was, you're asking about SGA?
No, brother.
14
Ryan not paying attention to the show.
I was reading
Jamal Murray was 9 of 23. He was 9 of 23 today. He had some really good moments today. Yeah. He had some really good moments, but again, there were some times where you could have got more out of him, especially in the first half.
Sure.
But in general, y'all, like, I think my whole thing is the Nuggets, they have enough talent to do some special things. The problem is that I really don't know if they're going to have the time to be able to take care of that and take care of business enough to get some of these victories they're going to need and to get in the playoffs and win 4 rounds.
Yeah, like finding a way to blend it all together is the most difficult aspect of this. And now you're going to, like, Peyton Watson is going to come back at some point either this week or next week, and he's going to be reintroduced to this, and you're going to try to figure out, okay, how does this work now? What are the mechanisms here? Who do we go to in the clutch moments? Who are the initiators in the second unit? Who are the guys that are also going to, like, it's a very fair question to try to figure out. It's like, that's the thing that people don't fully appreciate when you're like getting back healthy people, is that, yeah, you've been grinding for one way and just trying to survive for as long as possible. And it's paralysis by analysis in some ways. And like, this is a Cam Johnson thing too. Like when you've got too many good options, you don't make a good you don't make a good play. And so that's going to be an interesting one for Denver. I think, how do they work back in Peyton Watson? How do they work back in everybody? And then how does the team sort of react to that? But I do think that they are out of time in some ways. Like, how much can they really accomplish over the course of these final 15 games or so before really shutting it down and getting ready for the playoffs, I think is a fair question. Do you think that they are going to is there something that you want to see that you think that they can show that you're actively looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. That aggression they had to start the year off, they were tone setters the first 15 games of the year. They don't do that. That's not their MO. They're a team that's searching still. I will say, brother, and this to me is important because this is about their ceiling. And this is about, hey, do they have a guy that is able to get to it consistently? I don't know if you know this, including tonight. Jokic in his last 5 games is averaging 31 points a game on 70.4 true shooting.
That's pretty good.
So what's happening is Jokic is that touch that we're looking for is kind of moving itself back into, oh, there's that guy that's best player in the world. There's the guy that's an all-time great offensive engine. So if you're telling me that he goes into the playoffs like this and they can just get their guys around him to be like, hey, you know what we need to do? On defense, don't give any air. Do not give any air. You need to be suffocating. And Jamal, what I do expect from Jamal, and something that's been noticeable even today, the person that gets blown by the most right now is Maul.
Yeah, it's not Jokic, it's Jamal.
But some of that's because of his legs, so I get it, and his ankle. Like today, it's not even a criticism as much as it is. When we get to April, that has to be fixed. Jokic, when the thing he does every year, bad rim protection in regular season, good rim protection in the playoff. Jokic, you got to get to that. You got to turn that engine on. I think it's the same thing with the team. I think everybody has to turn their engine light on. Whether you get the Rockets in the first round, the Lakers in the first round, the Wolves in the first round, or you get the Spurs in the first round if you stay at like 6 or 7 or whatever else it is. Be ready. Yeah. Everybody just got to be ready to go.
I'm with you there. I think it's a good point. It's a salient point, and it's one thing that, like, that's all that they can really accomplish. There's not something extra that they have to do that they're going to have to try to learn on the fly. Kind of last year in a lot of ways, where they're learning a little bit about themselves as they go through the end of this regular season, as they go into the playoffs, as they try to figure out, okay, what is our solution going to be tonight? What is our solution? What is our thought process? How are we going to approach this game? What are the major counters? Things of that nature. The good thing about the injuries is that they've worked on a lot of things, is that they've done a lot of different things. They've put a lot of different stuff on tape for themselves so that they can go back and look at some different things that they liked, look at some things that they didn't, and then try to iron out an actual playoff rotation that makes sense and is really positive for them. But I'm not willing to give up the rope on it yet. I'm not willing to do that. There's less slack than there was before. I'll say that. They're definitely putting a little bit of stress onto Nuggets fans.
I've seen an account, by the way, that says whenever these teams play each other, just know it's always a dogfight. Guess who it is? Denver, OKC, the Spurs, and the Wolves. Oh, you mean basically the three teams in the same damn division? Every time they play each other, it's an absolute war. You know what I'm kind of tired of? I'm tired of them playing each other. That's what I'm tired of. Why are they all in the same spot? And now you got the Spurs coming up. Like, it's just, they're all in the same area. All of them.
Can't wait until they send Minnesota East. Can't wait until they send Anthony Edwards to the Eastern Conference.
No, but think about it. You got Jokic, Murray, Gordon, obviously.
Yeah.
Peyton Watson. Let me put my goat in there. SGA, Chet, Dub, Hart, boom, 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 boom. And then you got Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert. And then on the other end, it's like Victor Wembanyama and Dylan Harper and Castle and Fox. Brother, when these teams, the Spurs and Nuggets haven't even played Jokic Wemby yet, and you know this. Every time Jokic and Wemby see each other, it is a war.
They care. They go off. It is the current guard versus the young kid on the block who is ready to take over. And that interview that Jokic did where he said that, it can't. I'm so excited to be retiring in a few years before Wemby takes over the NBA. That is true. That will eventually happen. But it's it is an ode and kind of an ode to what these teams are and what these players are, how difficult this process is. Denver, I think, has a long way to go. They're still figuring some stuff out, but I'm still not willing to give up on it yet, man. I'm just not. I'm not going to.
So also too, brother, those threes that Jokic hit, man, those were for me, he's still in there. You know what I mean? No, not still in there.
Kind of three.
Yeah, bro, the corner three, number one, movement corner three, and then they ran a pin down three for Jokic. She's just swash, and then SGA. Bro, I'm telling you, if they went with the overtime, bro, I think Jokic might have got for 50. It was, or 45. It was on the way to we're about to get some more. But then, SGA just did the thing and the thing took over and all that stuff, bro. What's a better individual performance? So you had Jokic Wolves, SGA Jokic today, and then Anthony Edwards had that performance, 44 points in that game as well. Which how would you rank all those performances you've seen this year?
I think that Jokic game is still the top of the top on Christmas. I think that's the best game that the NBA has seen played this year from an individual standpoint. But this SGA game is ridiculous, man.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
The numbers, the efficiency, the lack of mistakes, and he had some great defensive plays as well. So he had the whole package going today, and Denver's got to find a way to disrupt him at least a little bit. They got to be more physical with him. They have to try to do so without fouling, although that's a dangerous game itself. SGA only had 4 free throws today. Didn't matter.
By the way, Dan Hyatt, tonight Denver was up 16 at one point, lost. This is the 5th loss this year. Denver leading by 16 or more in a game. Most such losses in any season in the Jokic era. So they had the Spurs game, they were up 17. The Warriors game, they were up maybe 16 at one point.
They were up against the Lakers without Jokic at home. That was an ugly one.
They were.
And there's a couple
Clippers.
of ones.
Was it the Clippers the one they were up?
Probably Clippers. Probably Clippers. I'd have to think about the other. But they've given up these leads. They relax. They allow other teams to go on 10-0 runs. It's just they've allowed teams to just bury them in some of these situations. And that has to stop. That is the thing I think that is the most inexcusable. You can't allow another team to bury you with a 15-2 run.
Can you tell me, what is your grade for David Adelman, let's say, since All-Star break?
C-, D+. It's hard to go much higher than that. The team has played better defensively, but they're also not getting great defensive results from the number standpoint. Teams are still making shots against them. And the offense is where they were shining, and they just haven't been able to coalesce things together. So I think you can't give any higher than a C-, I think.
Yeah, that small ball thing is definitely turning Ty Lue-ish, bro. It's definitely turning Ty Lue-ish.
It'll look better when Peyton Watson's at the 4.
I've seen this movie so many times. That's going to do it, y'all. That's Ryan Blackburn. I'm Swipa. Y'all know what time it is. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe on the YouTube side. Make sure you give us a 5-star review on Apple iTunes and Spotify. What a great game. We'll be seeing you on the other side. We're out. Okay.